Welcome to Meet the Experts, the show that introduces you to today's best and brightest thought leaders sharing information to accelerate your success in business and life. Let's get today's show started.
Welcome to Meet the Experts, the show that introduces you to the thought leaders that can impact your business, brand, and bank account. I'm Cory Mosley, your host for today's show. Today's guest is a powerhouse in the world of professional speaking, transformational coaching, and strategic consulting. Michelle Villalobos is the CEO of Superstar Activator and the creator of the Superstar Business Breakthrough, her signature program that helps mission-driven leaders turn transformational events into predictable, purpose-driven revenue. She partners with meeting professionals to kick off events with high energy, high-impact sessions that elevate engagement from the start, and works with event leaders behind the scenes to build sustainable business models that create both income and lasting impact. Michelle, welcome to Meet the Experts.
Thank you, Cory. I appreciate it.
Yes, I'm super excited. I've been following you for years, so I'm super excited to have this conversation. You talk about turning gatherings into gateways for impact and income. Can you walk us through how that actually shows up in a room? Like, what does that transformation look like live and really in real time?
Yeah, well, some of the core elements that people often overlook, a lot of times we'll come into conferences and it's all about the content, all about the speakers, all about the sessions, and not enough planning is put into place at the front end for a mind, body, spirit connection. People are much more engaged and excited to take action when they're feeling emotionally impacted, when they're feeling like they love what they're doing, they're connected with the people around them. So what I do is I help event planners and professionals put together an opening session that really activates what I call the field. And we do that through heart opening exercises, creating heart coherence, which is science-backed, neuroscience-backed, and creating an agreement field to help people decide and intentionally create the way that they're going to show up in the event. And that just activates outcomes in new ways.
Now, I can see how that's important and really can set the tone, particularly for an event and what's going to happen afterwards. Now, you often say energy precedes outcomes. So in a group or event setting, how does that principle play out? And I guess what shifts should attendees expect when you bring that energy into the space?
Yeah, well, think about it. What we know from science is that each individual human has a heart, and that heart actually pumps out an electromagnetic field. And that electromagnetic field, to put it very simply, is basically us projecting our emotional state out. And that electromagnetic field can be felt by every other person. Maybe not consciously, but unconsciously, it's happening. And so when we put a whole bunch of people into a big ballroom, as you can imagine, that creates a collective field. So if we can help each individual person elevate their emotional state, then that means we can create a very special collective field with everybody in a higher emotional state. And when we're in a more elevated emotional state, we're more receptive, more curious, more loving, more kind, more compassionate, more open-minded, more open-hearted. There's so many benefits to doing that ultimately allows the content to land in a whole new way at a whole new level. So that's kind of what it can mean for an event producer to create that from the outset. It means that everything is more well received. And even things like, the lunch didn't turn out so good. People are like, no big deal. They roll with it.
It's that idea of giving grace to a situation for sure, yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, you've built a powerful brand around the idea of being a superstar. What does that really mean in today's marketplace? And really, how can leaders step into that identity authentically?
Yeah, well, for me, what it means to be a superstar is, number one, that we operate from the inside out, that we are responsible for cultivating that internal combustion, if you will, that allows our light to spill out into the world. That's a metaphor, obviously. And there's also, as I mentioned earlier, real science to back these metaphors up. But the idea is that when we do that, we become way more appealing, compelling, and attractive and magnetic to other people. People are drawn to us sometimes without even understanding why. And that can be very powerful for a thought leader. And I do want to take a moment also to acknowledge, like, this works when it's authentic, not when it's fake. And so there's so much fakeness out there. There's so much AI generated content and there's so much noise. But when we operate in this way, when we cultivate that internal alignment, those internal emotional states, those elevated frequencies, this is real. And humans, this will never go out of style. This will never work, right? Never not work. Yeah. Because that's who we are naturally and fundamentally.
Well, funny when you talk about AI, you have a lot of the services now rejecting the AI content because it's becoming so AI. So they're now favoring real, legitimate, authentic content and information there. So, you work with a lot of mission-driven leaders who, want to serve, but they also need to earn. So what's your take on aligning purpose with profit without sacrificing either?
Absolutely. Well, to me, it seems like when we put profit first, that puts us in an emotional state. It puts us in a way of being that can feel to others inauthentic. Like when we're attached to an outcome, let's say, of making a sale, oftentimes people can feel that desperation or that need coming from us. So it's a really interesting balance. Number one is to create the alignment so that we're doing what our heart and soul loves to do. We are serving and leading in a way that adds value to the world. And then we're asking for compensation. It's an energetic exchange, right? When we serve and lead and give, then naturally things come to us, opportunities come to us. The challenge becomes when we put that profit motive first, it puts us in a state of being attached to an outcome. And people can perceive that. So it's not an easy thing to do. It's simple, but it's not necessarily easy because we live in a world that really prioritizes outcomes, revenue, profit. And those things are all important, but not at the not in exchange for, not instead of purpose and value and serving the market in a very valuable way.
I've always said, do what you love as long as it pays, right? You have to really blend those two. Now, your work doesn't stop when the event's over, right? So what kind of long-term ripple effect are you aiming for with the organizations and the individuals that you're serving right now?
Yeah, I mean, I often tell this, say this to my clients. There's only so much you can do in a 60 or 90-minute keynote. And these days, they're never 90 minutes anymore, right? Everybody's cutting your time. Yeah. I think that the most you can do in a keynote or even in a breakout is deliver some sort of perspective shift, some sort of aha moment, some sort of new desire or new awareness. But real transformation takes time. And in my belief, in my experience, it not only takes time, it takes community. It takes what I call the hall of mirrors to witness you and support you and reflect back to you as you transform. And so for me, what I've seen and what I teach is, all right, deliver that aha moment up front and make sure that you have a way for people to continue the transformational process. Now, that can be as simple as a book that details your framework and your steps, or as what I do, some sort of, event, some sort of experience, some sort of breakthrough program. And then ultimately, what I call in business speak, the big back end, but in real life would be a community, a mastermind, some sort of group program, some sort of culture that holds people as they're making the transformation.
No, that makes a lot of sense there. I mean, I can see as you map it out how it all kind of comes together. Now, your superstar business breakthrough. Now, this is all about helping leaders build sustainable and profitable models. What does that journey actually look like? From chaos to clarity, for someone who might go through your program.
Well, specifically, it's a 3-day intensive. So part of the idea is that when we take time away from the chaos of our businesses and our lives, and just even setting the time and the attention, the intention to focus deeply on our business, just doing that creates some sort of magic, right off the bat. in addition to that, what we do is the day one is focusing in on, here are the possibilities. Here are different models. Here are lots of different ways that people are driving income in a sustainable way, in a group model. And then the second day, we focus a lot more on, that's where the rubber meets the road. How do you want to do it? What makes sense for you? And we help people design the actual programs, including what's in them, how they're going to deliver them, what are the price points that they're going to sell them at. And then once we've established that and we have a shorter term sort of window that we're operating in, the third day becomes all about tactics and action. It's implementation, it's marketing plans, it's marketing strategies and systems and platforms, and how are you going to actually launch this thing? And people walk away with a 90-day plan. So, from big picture all the way down to nitty gritty, we take people on this journey. And while we do it, we insist that they stay fully present, fully focused. It's a small, intensive group. It's not a huge event. And unlike a lot of these kind of 3-day models that you see out there, it does lead to a longer term program, but it's not a pitch. It's not one long pitch. It's a standalone event that people come in and they walk away with these things figured out.
Tangible value for sure. I can clearly see how impactful your program is and can be for someone. Michelle, I want to thank you for your time today and for joining us. You are a true expert.
Thank you.
For more information on the services that Michelle provides, please visit superstaractivator.com. This has been another episode of Meet the Experts, the show that introduces you to the thought leaders that can impact your business, brand, and bank account. I'm Cory Mosley, and I will see you next time.
Thanks for watching Meet the Experts, an exclusive interview series produced by Thought Leadership Studios.